So hello everybody. I'll speak in English. Unfortunately, I don't speak Russian, but if there is any question, I think that SoftPom team can translate and help me with the communication. Just as an introduction, BriefCam is part of the family with Axis and Milestone with Canon. And one of the main ideas here is that people today want to buy solution from the camera to the VMS to the analytics, and we're very proud to be able to have common solutions for the market with the same idea that people want to get added value from the system implemented. Now, what we talk about video analysis, their main idea that there are just more and more cameras implemented. Organizations are just collecting a lot of data from typical sites would be from 100 cameras and beyond. But we know that more than 88% of those surveillance is just regarding non-stop, but no one is really watching it. So basically, video surveillance systems are just underutilized. And if you put more cameras, you need more eyes. You need more people to review the video. So what you can do, you can put more intelligence, you can put more systems that will help you to collect the data. But at the end, you still need a person, you still need a human being to analyze everything. But this person will be limited. Even if he has multiple eyes, you have a team of different people to look at the videos. At the end, it's beyond human capacity to make sense of it. So you have two options, or you put more people, or you add some video analytics, point solutions. For example, today we see a lot of real-time analytics, but those are limited. It doesn't because you get an alert based on a face recognition or license plate recognition that you understand the overall environment of what you are recording. The BriefCam comes up with the solutions that basically brings human being and technology together. So we want to transform video into actionable intelligence. What we do, we have a platform that offers 3 modules with different benefits. The first one is the ability to search for an object in the video over time. It's a post-event analysis to accelerate investigations. You can review hours of videos in minutes with the use of a video synopsis. It's a patent of BriefCam, the ability to summarize hours of videos and search for very specific objects by the gender, by the types of vehicle, by the color, by the way people are wearing, etc., etc. Second is to get proactive and get live alerts. You can configure a specific camera based on a specific AI rule and get a live alert. And then if you're able to extract some specific information, why not quantify this information? You can get predictive information or very specific operational intelligence data by the use of dashboards, by extracting specific information, customize them, and get some deep analysis based on behaviors, based on trends, or very specific statistical information. Now, what's the technology of BriefCam specifically? We unlock the video and just extract the value of it. So we get any input, any raw video. This raw video can be just a video file, or it can be a video streams coming from a camera linked to a VMS. We process this data, mainly using GPU NVIDIA CUDA, and we present it to the user with the 3 modules. One is a viewer where you can search video specific objects. Second, you can quantify using dashboards with graphs. And the last one will be live notifications that can be linked to the milestone analytics features. What is unique with BriefCam is a fusion of computer vision deep learning technologies, which is basically a copy of the human learning process. The same way when you look in the window, you can look at cars in the streets and people. BriefCam will work exactly the same way. We basically track objects, extract them, classify the same way the human brain is basically classifying objects by looking at with the eyes. And then we have our video synopsis, which is basically a patent that can make the entire technology unique and a very user-friendly applications when you have to look at hours of videos. So we detect, we track, extract, and classify objects. So here, for example, you are tracking a bicycle, but basically the algorithms is extracting a rich metadata. For example, here, woman, the bicycle, with a certain color, white and black, a certain speed, a certain direction, etc., etc. Now we do it for the full scene coverage. We're looking at the entire scene, every moving object from 9 by 9 pixels. We detect, track, and classify. So it doesn't matter for BriefCam if it's a people, if it's a car, if it's a plastic bag in the air. If it moves, we will see it, detect, and classify. Now, what's the video synopsis? This is a very well-known technology. You get a 30-minute video. It's an original video, very long, annoying. What BriefCam does, we extract those objects and then we show them simultaneously, even if every object occurred at a different time in the original video. So on the right, you can see a video synopsis of 53 seconds with every object simultaneously. So we overlap every single object with the original time, which is a timestamp. And then if you click on every single object, you get back to the original video. So you can look at 10 hours of video, see a 10-minute synopsis, and just click on every object at 12, and then you get back to original footage. That will be a copy from Milestone. Now, since we get the metadata, we discussed the metadata before, you can just refine the research and have a smart synopsis to get to very specific targets. For example, you're looking for women, but not only women, but women wearing a blue, for example, or a certain type of vehicle, for example, bikes, but not only bikes, maybe bikes traveling in a certain direction in the city, for example. So you can refine research and get to very specific targets. So 3 seamlessly integrated solutions, 1 for review, accelerate investigations, a second to get live alerts, and a third to quantify and derive operational intelligence. Capabilities currently, BriefCam can offer classifications of people, man, woman, child, two-wheel vehicles, bicycles and motorcycles, other vehicles, car, pickup, van, truck, bus, train, airplane, and boat. We've got additional features like illumination changes. This is for very specific secret services that look at basically background changes. If you want to see when people are turning the lights off or on, for us, it's basically a background changes. And animals. For attributes of people, lower wear or upper wear, if people are wearing long sleeves or short sleeves, if they have a specific color, for example, a blue jean or a yellow shirt, hats, people with hats or no hats, a helmet or a hood will be considered as a hat for BriefCam. Types of bags, someone without bag or backpacks, handheld bags, that can be also a suitcase. Color, we can identify objects according to a combination of color of the rainbow. Face recognition, offering face detection. You can view all the faces in a case. Then you can search for a specific face in your recording. You can add a picture and search for a face in your recording. You can do it for search. You can do it for live. At the end of the day, every filter that you see here can be done for a search, post-event analysis, or live alerting. Then we can also make an apparent similarity. You can click on a specific object and see similar attributes. Direction, size, which are basically absolute size and absolute speed of objects in the environment, a certain path that you can draw, an area that you can select, a polygon, and a certain dwell when objects are loitering in an area. And newly we have license plate recognition and line crossing. That's the product architecture of BriefCam. Basically, there is a dedicated hardware that will be integrated to the VMS server, where all the instances are basically stored, the web services database using PostgreSQL, with all the streaming services, the processing, and the storage. Now let me jump to, I'm going to jump to a real demo. Just change my screen. Sure. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so I moved to the a cloud environment. Okay, I don't have a GPU, neither a Milestone VMS with me, but that would look exactly the same. Basically, this UI, it's a web client, is fully embedded within the XProtect Smart Clients. You'll see on the top of Milestone XProtect Smart Client, near live, you'll see BriefCam tab. From there, you can basically use exactly all the features I'm going to show you. So we have here on the top, we don't have much time, so I'll try to make it fast and show you basically the concept of the technology. But you have the review, the respond, and the research modules. So I will start with the forensic, which is the review module with all my cases. Okay, you can see all my cases have been created. But basically, when you have a case, you can either bring any cameras that have a BriefCam license from the milestone directory here, or you can have an hybrid solutions allowing you, for example, to also upload video files coming from a USB, coming from a NAS, whatever. You can bring any video file that you want to the case. Okay, so I will open this case, for example, which is named law enforcement. So here it's a drug case analysis, typical drug analysis in city. This is a case we have with Milestone in the US with a specific police. So you can see basically all the cameras that I have processed on the left, the main thumbnail, which are basically every object extracted from the videos on the main screen. And then on the right, very easy, you can see all the filters. Now, if I open the camera named Franklin, you can see I have more than 4,000 objects. So if I click on this camera, I will jump to the video synopsis because I'm looking only to see the story of this video. You can see it's a video from 8 a.m. in the morning to 8 a.m. by night. So you get a 12 hours videos that BriefCam is going to summarize here, is going to appear. The internet is a bit slow, sorry. That's the problem using a cloud demo. Let me reboot, sorry. Okay, so we see our synopsis. It's a bit slow, I'm sorry, because of the internet, but basically you can see that this scene has been summarized. We talked about 12 hours that we can see in less than half an hour. And you can see that every object that we show simultaneously, they were there at different time. You can see that this dog was there at 10:14. This man was there an hour before. This car was there half an hour before. Now, if I click on this specific object at 9:46, I can click on it. Now we will jump to the original video, okay? So I basically click on this object and I'm tracking it in the original video. This is the original car that I've selected. So BriefCam works exactly like a search engine, like Google. If you type on Google, for example, SoftProm, maybe you get 50 pages of results. Now, if I type SoftProm 3D IT Innovation virtual event, then we get to people just at the event. And then I can type, for example, the BriefCam demo, and we will get to very specific targets of the audience right now looking at my presentation. BriefCam works exactly the same way. If you don't know what you're looking for, we show you everything. We show you the entire scene in a brief, and then you can share multiple filters, combine them, and just get to a specific target. So we discussed before all those filters. Now, if I click on men, exactly like Google, I will refine the research. You can see now in green that in this specific camera, from 4,000 objects now, I will show you only 1,000 that will be men. Now, the beauty is that the deep learning, the classification is done automatically and is done on its own. So you don't need to do anything. Every object will be shown simultaneously, if my internet allows me. Yeah, sorry, that happens. Reset. Internet problem. Excuse me, it happens. Internet problems. That's a problem working from home. Okay, selecting the man. Okay, basically here when I select man, I'm looking at all the filters basically based on the entire case. So what I want to show you now is that if you click, you see by camera, we show, this is basically a multi-camera search, so I can see all the men, for example. I will work that way. I think it's faster. But for example, you're looking for a man with the red color on top of the body. You can look for objects in all the cameras. And basically now, if I click on this camera, I can see 132 targets. The system will show you a synopsis of 132 men. Yes, now it's faster. I can increase the density, for example, which is the compression of moving objects in the video. But you can see that I'm looking for the man with the upperwear with the red color. So even if the same guy is coming back at the same time in the video, now I get a snapshot of the activity and I can see that's the same guy, but you can continue, for example, and you're looking on a specific area. Okay, you can play with the polygon, for example, that way, apply, and now we refine the research and get to 75 targets that are men wearing a red hood, for example, or a red on top of the body. And again, the idea, if I click on this guy at 12:22, we get back to the original video. Okay, it's a bit faster now, but you can see the original video here. That will be basically taken from milestone. But you can just reset filters, for example, and looking for only cars, for example. Okay, since it's already processed, you basically do not need to process the video again. I'm looking only for the cars, for example. So we'll show you all the cars. Maybe you're looking for the cars with a white color, for example. So very easy to use. You can see now we have 358 white cars in the video. Okay, but you can ask for cars with the red color also, white and red if you want. Now the system will show you cars, white cars and red cars. Okay, but you can see they were all there at different time. Okay, here in this scene, what is interesting is to understand the activity of the scene. In this case here, it's a drug activity. So the police, they couldn't put a camera and just say to the people, I'm going to put a camera because I'm looking for drug dealers. But if you look at this heat map, and that's interesting then to move from criminal investigations to a retail environment when you want to analyze behaviors of consumers, you can see the trend of activity of all the objects in this scene. You can see that the cars are basically driving in a road, so you can see in red, you have a lot of activity. But if now I look at specific classes, for example, only the people, I want to see how people move in these streets, for example, over 12 hours, you can see that we have a lot of people walking on the sidewalk. Some people are crossing, it's blue, so you have less objects, but you clearly have here a lot of activity. So I could draw, for example, a path here to see who's converging to the house, for example, and understand the scene very quickly. You can see that 149 people are converging to the house. So if it was a real a house, that would be a problem. Either there is a big party or something is wrong. And you can quickly see here with using the snapshot of the synopsis, all the people that are converging to the house. So there is clearly an activity in this house. Okay, you can zoom, for example. Okay, we can zoom to the scene, just close. Now, if I close the synopsis, I can search for a specific source in the video. So we're looking at Franklin only. And now I'm looking for specific targets. Okay, every object that you see here are basically the 149 targets that will go into the house. So all those objects, you can look at them one by one, and then you can work on specific similarity, which means, for example, that if you're looking for a man with a red hood, like a red jacket, like this guy, you can click here on this thumbnail, jump to apparent similarity, and the system will show you relevance of activity. It will show you either the same guy or similarity of people. Okay, so you can see in the video, the 4 same guys or similar guys. If I would reset, I would be looking for a vehicle. For example, you are looking for this white van in the city or for a drug case, you can click on the white van here, apply, and the system will show you a mosaic of all similar objects. So you can see all the white vans similar to this one. And I'm showing you by camera every relevant object. So if you would be looking for vehicles near this shop, you don't need to look because you see 0 objects. But if I now click on Bet for More camera, I see 3. So instead of watching an hour video, the system will pinpoint you only relevant objects. So I will see the 3 similar white van in this specific video. Okay, and again, the idea is to click on a certain object. If I click on this object, I can get back to the original video. Okay, we don't have much time. I'm sorry, I had some technical issues. But what you can do, for example, by looking at a camera like this, you want to look for object loitering in front of a government building, or you want to see how people are behaving in the shop. You can use the dwell, for example, and you want to click and see who is loitering in front of this shop for more than 30 seconds. You can select just by using the toolbar, 30 seconds. Okay, now I can move forward, for example, and you'll see multiple objects, people loitering at different time. You can see this guy was at 11, this guy was there an hour after. Okay, you could see a suspicious activity with the human eye using the synopsis of objects overlapping to each other. I'm sorry, the internet again. Okay, but you can see here playing the synopsis, guys that are loitering around. So you can do the same for vehicles or people, it doesn't matter for BriefCam. But if the same guy was there at different time, you would see the same guy at different frames. You see this group of guys there, they were there almost at the same time. This guy was there after. Okay, I could do the same, maybe for a bit less, let's say 19 seconds. You can see every guy that will stop around. Okay, in this case, you can see there is clearly something wrong here. But we can use all different objects. For example, we can use like the path to see who is basically leaving the shop. Okay, let's set. Let's say I'm looking at people leaving the area, for example. You can see that I have drawn a path very easily, and now I see 61 targets. So I'm showing you all the people that will follow this path. So basically, people leaving the shop. So here we're looking at the criminal investigations, but I could do the same for a shop, for example, to understand who is leaving the area, who is entering the building, who is going near the shoes, who is going near the purses, for example, the bags. Okay, using a different case, for example. Okay, I'm going over a different case for you to understand that we can use the same for traffic, for consumer behaviors in a shop we discussed before, the consumer analysis. For example, I could use the path to understand the trend of people in an area, like a shop to understand how people are walking in the shop, what are the areas mostly used, same for logistics or operations, production side to understand how people are walking, how the vehicles are driving. When it's red, you can see that you have a lot of activity. So you can quickly see here that if I'm looking at the men, for example, in this shop, since it's a shop for women, you can see the trend of the men. You can see that most of them are not even entering the shop. While if I would move to women, for example, in this case, you would see a different activity. That allows you to understand and have a deep analysis of operations of what's going on in the shop, for example, but you can do the same for a city, for a transportation area. Okay, you will see the activity of the woman. When it's red, you have a lot of activity. You can clearly see that the women are entering the shop. You can use the face recognition and license plate recognition for BriefCam are just one module on top of the platform. So what we offer is to show faces in the wild. Okay, we're not telling you how to put a camera, but where we can see a face, we will show a rank of stars. What we do, we track people the same way I can track a white vehicle, I can track a face. Okay, it starts with 3 stars because we have a good pose, we have good lines of the face, the good camera resolution. When you go down, you'll see maybe less star faces because the video is blurry, because the guy is in the profile. But it's very strong when you get 2 or 3 stars. We can just select a face, for example, like this guy, build a watch list, and find this person over all my cameras. The same way I showed you before, I can see this guy over multiple cameras. He was not there, but here I see 4. So if I click now on this camera, we get back to the video synopsis to search for this very specific object. Okay, so it's always the same concept. He was there at 7:41, 8:21, etc., etc. For license plate recognition, because I see my time is over already. It's a bit short for BriefCam, a short presentation, because I have a lot of things to show you, but we can use the same LPR for face. Basically, the license plate recognition will be the face for people, but the face for cars. So in this case, we have 3 cameras looking at the streets. We can track plates, okay, and then you can work the same way. You can click on a specific plate, add it to a watch list, and search for this car in multiple cameras. You can add a plate manually, bring an input like a digits or a letter, search for a car, and you can do it for live. Okay, now if I can extract this information, I can build dashboards to understand traffic analysis, to understand consumer behaviors in a shop. You can aggregate the metadata to dashboards and customize this for operations. This is very strong module when you want to quantify data. In this case, this is the shop I showed you before. You can see I can classify visitors, I can count them, I can see the average duration, put visual layers that I've showed you before, by areas, etc., etc. You can do the same for building occupancy. You can track people exiting the area, entering the area. You can cross data using Excel file with the video data to understand, for example, who is buying in my shop compared to who is entering the shop, etc., etc. So this is basically the research module. And the last one is the response. It's exactly what I've shown you before, where basically all those thumbnails will be based on live alerting system and will be thrown to the Milestone X Protect analytics features. You can build a rule. Okay, we have different rules: real-time alerts, smart alerts using AI. You can have alerting based on counting of people. Okay, but that works exactly the same way. You can build your own rule. This camera will be processed 24 hours. You can select a camera from Milestone, make it run once a day continuously, and we'll preview the image of the camera, and there you can have a live alerting based on an area. You want to have an alert every time someone is entering this area. You want to have an alert every time someone is doing a U-turn or someone is leaving this area from there. You want to have a live alert when someone is crossing a specific line, for example. You can use all the filters I've showed you before. You can get live alerts. You can use a specific watch list of face recognition. You want to enter a specific plate to get a live alert in the city, for example, etc., etc. And here in this case, you can see that I have some specific live alerts. You can see that's the watch list I had. Every time this person will be detected, you'll get a live alert. We have alerting based on the U-turn, illegal U-turn, for example, near the Walmart shop. Every object that you see here has done an illegal U-turn based on the path that I've drawn, etc.
Okay. Excuse me, we should finish, but we have a few short questions.
Yes, I'm done for the demo. That's it.
Okay. First question about what about face recognition in mask? Do you have to plan implement mask? No mask alarm in review and response model?
Not yet. Mask detection will be ready in the future. It's quite new, this request for the Corona features, but yes, it will come. We're going to have also a proximity feature that will track objects. If someone, for example, was an infected person was close to someone, we can have a kind of a search by proximity to understand who was close to this person for a certain period of time. But mask detection will come in the future. Yes, it's coming.
So you plan to implement it, yeah?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and other question, tell us please how many objects can be overlapped in one screen?
There is no limit. It depends. If you have a lot of objects, the synopsis will be just a bit longer. You can play with the density. You see, I'm showing you here density. According to the video, you can play either you want it very compressed or you want it sparse. So there is no limitation. If it moves, then we will detect. Obviously, if the entire scene is a crowd and you don't see even the background, it will be a challenge. Obviously, there is no magic. But if you have thousands of objects, BriefCam will track them the same way. And the synopsis will be just longer. Here it's only 3 minutes. If it's a long video, maybe you have 10-minute synopsis. There is no limit.
Thank you very much. And other one question, how to become a partner of BriefCam in Georgia and CIS countries?
It's quite easy. You just contact SoftProm and we will qualify the projects, and you can become part of the partner program.
Okay, thank you very much. And question which you answered during your presentation, yes, it's possible to definite cars by type and different type of vehicles and by color and other attributes. Yes, it's possible.
Yes, of course. You see here, I can click on certain classes and you can combine them. The type of vehicles are here, and then you can just combine. For example, if I do here, for example, bicycle, okay, you will see only the bicycles. But if you're looking for someone in red, for example, you can click on yellow, for example. There is no yellow guy, but again, quickly, if I do green, you will see bicycles with green. You see, green. Okay. That's you can combine every filter to refine the research. Yes.
Thank you very much, Florian. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your passion.
You're welcome.